So one of my favorite areas to talk about is M&A, and every year I do a report where we talk about M&A and IPO trends. And 2023 was an improvement for both of those. Only a little bit of an improvement for IPOs, however. But we've got a public company here that might be a candidate for M&A. And I think one of the things that we've noticed about schizophrenia in recent years is there have not been a lot of transactions before recent times in that area. However, in December, not only did we have one, but two transactions, and I'll read off the details. So we had AbbVie buy Cerevel Therapeutics for $8.7 billion, and then we had Bristol Myers buy Karuna Therapeutics for $14 billion. I mean, these are pretty big numbers. And so, Dr. Bhat, what do you think of these transactions? What does it mean for schizophrenia? Drugs, especially advanced ones in advanced stages of development, like yourself. What does it mean? And what does that give you a lot of optimism over 2024 and what might happen?
Sure. The pharma partnering and then M&A, this part of the pharma ecosystem, and the mid-sized small company versus and a big company. So the recent acquisition, what you mentioned, two acquisitions, Cerevel and then Karuna Therapeutics.
Yeah.
So these are, to my opinion, and to my knowledge, these are good trends in the industry.
Certainly.
Especially if you look at last decade, the neuropsychiatry was not a preferred field for
when was the last drug acquired in the space?
See,
do you know? Do you recall?
If I recall, the last drug acquired was sometime in 2010.
Okay, wow. So over a decade ago.
In this space.
Yeah.
At a phase 3 level.
Uh-huh.
So in the last decade, there are very few, not only acquisition, even the partnering deals were very few, hardly any partnering in the neuropsychiatric space. But recent acquisition, that kind of a resurgence in the interest in this field. It's a good for drug developers, because not only
gives some hope.
Correct. Not only for the drug developers, for investors as well. This is a very encouraging news. And then if you look at as a field, CNS, schizophrenia, there's a huge unmet need. And then most drugs are currently in the market are generic drugs. There's a field needs a new improved treatment.
Right.
And the market is currently schizophrenia market alone is close to $9 billion, and it's anticipated by 2028 over $12 billion. And then often antipsychotics with broad spectrum activities also developed for additional indications, such as much larger than schizophrenia, like major depressive disorder, and then also bipolar. For these indications, drugs are first approved for schizophrenia and then later on developed for other indications. So in general, neuropsychiatric space itself, there's a huge unmet need. And then the patient populations also very large. Schizophrenia, 24 million people suffer from schizophrenia globally. US alone, close to 4 million people. So considering the huge unmet need and then a large patient population, new therapies needed to address the unmet need. I hope we will be able to fill in to some extent.